Good evening. Welcome to Delta High School. This first round game of the 2021 Delaware County Boys Championship. First, let's meet our visitors, the Yorktown Tigers. 12, Jacob Graham. 15, Joey Hazel.
Welcome to Delta High School tonight, the start of the Delaware County Boys Basketball Tournament as rivals meet to begin the 2021 version of the Delaware County Tournament. Welcome in. My name is Mark Forster alongside Lexi Eben as it's Yorktown and Delta in the start of the Delaware County Tournament. In the quarterfinals, we were scheduled to have two games today at different sites, but Westdale will move on to Friday's semifinal game against Wapahani, which leaves this sole quarterfinal matchup. They've already played once this year, Lexi, and two teams that right now Delta's got the streak. They've won 9 in a row in this series, and in talking to Coach Matt Moulton, they're very focused on this matchup. Obviously, the tournament has parts to it, but they're really focused on battling with Delta tonight because this is the bar of Delaware County.
Yeah, and you talked about they've already met each other once already this season, and last time Delta was able to come out victorious, winning 49-34, and the impact players for Delta during that game were number 32, Brady Hunt, and number 4, Neil Marshall. Hunt had 23 points with 7 field goals and 3 three-pointers. Marshall came in with a nice 19 points with 5 field goals and 3 three-pointers to add on to that. So they're really going to have to shut down Brady Hunt and Neil Marshall.
Delta, the champions of the Delaware County Tournament each of the past 2 seasons. Yorktown last won the tournament in 2015, but this is a heck of a way to start with the 2 largest schools in the Delaware County Tournament playing for only one, moving on to Friday's semifinal matchup where Cowan will be waiting that game at Cowan High School. J.J. Evans and Brady Hunt in the center jump circle. It's tipped to Carter Lovelace, who will fire an immediate mid-range jumper and connect. That's a heck of a way to start.
Yeah, great job by Carter Lovelace there, coming out and getting a quick 2 points for his team.
Hunt with a quick catch on the perimeter. Jones, as you can see, J.J. Evans sacking off. Hunt off a curl, a 3 from the top of the key and knocks it through.
And I just talked about Brady Hunt. They're going to have to slow him down a lot tonight if Yorktown wants to come out and get a win.
The leading scorer in the Hoosier Heritage Conference, averaging 23 points per game and 7 rebounds a game. Here's the freshman Tawari. Excellent pass to his teammate, another freshman Mason Moulton, and finishes easily at the edge of the rim.
Yeah, that was a really nice feed into the low post there to get 2 points.
Well, we heard Mark Detweiler in the pregame huddle talk about pace. The pace favoring Yorktown right now is Delta averaging 49 points per game. Yorktown is able to play a bit faster than Delta. We'll see how that pace translates early on, Lexi.
Yeah.
It's Jones at the top of the key. Again, J.J. Evans in the post, as you see, on the point guard. Not necessarily a threat from 3, but this time he'll fire, and he'll connect in the face of Evans. Hey, how about that?
That is the second three-pointer on the night already. All 6 points for Delta coming from the three-point line.
Offense is coming easily for both sides. 2 possessions for each teams, and both have scored. Here's a great pass from Tawari to Evans. He curled off the high post right and finishes 2 on the alley-oop.
Yeah, Evans recording his first point of the night. Now it's all tied up at 6.
Marshall to Jones again. He's feeling it from 3. Hits another. Blake Jones came into tonight 2 for 11 from the arc, and is 2 from 2 from the arc to start this contest.
Jones is definitely feeling his stroke. Another 3-point.
And Tawari this time misses, tracking down the rebound for Yorktown. It will stay in their half court. This has been a very frantic pace. Again, the highest scoring game this year for Delta, 60 points, and through 2 minutes of this contest, they're nearly in double figures in the first quarter. Much different than the 49-34 game we saw a couple of weeks back. Strong drive from Dunn, leads the way into Strong. Hunt the board and pushing. Hunt maneuvers through the middle. It's Marshall inside the free throw line. Nice turnaround jumper, and it's all working for Delta as they're getting in the lane consistently, Lexi.
Delta is being really aggressive, attacking that lane. I think that they realize that they're a little bit bigger than Yorktown, so that's where they're going to be getting a lot of their points tonight.
The freshman Moulton on the catch. In that game a couple of weeks back in early December, Delta started with the lead and never relinquished. Dunn on the catch, a long three, he'll fire and hit. A.J. Dunn coming off a 22-point performance last Friday. His first points of the night, lead cut to 2. Eagles the 11-9 pace, under 5 in the first quarter of play. Wooden facing up at the free throw line. Lob a pass inside for Hunt. It was a difficult angle and a turnover back to Yorktown.
I think if Wooden could have connected there with Hunt, that would have been the easy 2-point bucket for Hunt, but instead it's just a little overthrown over top of Hunt's head.
Brady Hunt, 19 games in his career, over 20 points. He had over 20 against Yorktown the first time. They look for a different defensive matchup against him this time around. Tawari off a ball screen. Crossing over Hunt, the foot speed, steps back at the free throw line. An excellent defense by Hunt to force the give up. Here's Evans, difficult drive and too much contact, missed the lay-in. Hunt the board and pushing. Far side 4, now at the rim, in the lane. He's fouled before he can put up the lay-in. He might be in the act of shooting. Only one more dribble he had to get to the edge of the rim. Actually, they'll call it on the floor.
I'm a little surprised they called that on the floor because as soon as Hunt got that rebound, he took it coast to coast. I thought he was in the act of shooting a layup, but nonetheless, it is a floor on the foul, and they inbound it to Hunt.
Hunt, the edge to Wooden. Off ball movement, pump fake from Marshall. In the lane, laying off the glass, and it's good.
That is 4 points for Neil Marshall tonight, both of those coming from inside the paint.
A 4-point lead for Delta. A lot of offense early, halfway gone in the first quarter. Tawari on the arc, a ball screen, a crossover. Now Evans on the catch. Evans will redirect and Dunn now at the controls. He's shadowed by Logan Maynor into the game for the first time. Here's Tawari, catch and shoot 3, no. And Hunt the board near side 4. At 6'5", he can run the break, and he runs it. He sees an open lane, takes it to the rack, and lays in 2. That is just the difficulty that Brady Hunt causes as a matchup at 6'5".
I mean, you can tell that he knows he's one of the bigger players out on the court, if not the biggest, and he takes it straight to the heart, and he's going to take it into the rack for 2 points.
Well, there's no question. This is one of the best first quarters offensively for Delta, and they get another board looking to add to it. Already 15 points with still 3:10 to play in the first quarter.
If Yorktown wants to get back in this game, they definitely need to pick up on the offensive rebounds.
Very heavily weighted on Marshall and Hunt from an offensive standpoint. Here's Hunt again in the lane, right-hand touch shot. He's got it all working. Brady Hunt with 7, and Delta's torrid pace offensively continues. They have an 8-point lead.
Brady Hunt is just so dominant from everywhere on the court. He's already got 1 3-pointer registered and 2 points from inside the paint.
Evans on the double team. Now to Moulton, back to Dunn for his second 3, and he fouled it, but it went in. It just scooted over the front edge of the rim and in.
That's 6 points for A.J. Dunn. You mentioned his second made 3-pointer on the night.
Lead cut to 5. It's been on this end, though, for Yorktown, where they've been unable to get stops. It's Moulton, the one-on-one matchup with Hunt. Hunt will back down, asking for the basketball, but Evans steals it, and it's taken away by Dunn.
Really aggressive play there by Evans to get that steal for his team.
Dunn leads around, pick and roll, leads Lovelace to the edge of the rim, and it's a foul in the paint. Carter Lovelace will go to the line. Good weaving action as Dunn got controls of the basketball. And normally when he comes into the half-court set, Lexi, he's directing the offense, and that was an excellent play from the sophomore.
Really, really aggressive play from both sides of the court. And you mentioned that him being only a sophomore. A lot of times you see sophomores kind of back away from that contact because, you know, they're facing older guys, but he went straight into it. Unfortunately misses his first free throw.
Lovelace misfires on the first. He's now 7 for 11 from the line this season. And in comes Abram Stitt, who's recently gotten more and more action for this Delta crew. They're looking for more depth. Abram Stitt starred on the football field in the fall, and this will be his 5th game played as Lovelace splits a pair. And a 4-point lead for Delta nearing the end of the first quarter. Hunt the handoff to Marshall. Hunt now streaks to the left, perimeter as Walker Moore in the game for the first time for Yorktown. First action in a month. Here's a kick out. Stitt a three. Misses long. Rebound tracked down by Clay Bragg, who is wearing a mask tonight. And here's Hunt, a three from the left perimeter. No. Ball batted around. Another offensive board. Marshall secures the basketball as he comes across half court. Okay, it is Yorktown basketball, and fans may not understand quite why. He never regained his footing into the front court, thus the over in the back when he got control. So a 4-point lead for Delta. Here's Yorktown on the attack. Tawari patient off the ball screen. A free throw line jumper missed, fires. And Delta basketball after the miss.
And you see Brady Hunt out there. He's about to man the Delta offense here. We'll see what Brady Hunt has in store.
30 combined points in the first quarter of this game. 85 points between the two teams in the full contest back in early December, to give you an idea of how quick offensively these teams have gotten to a start. Marshall in the lane, double teamed at the rim by two guards, and took the contact to a foul. To the line he goes.
Personal rounds 20, A.J. Dunn, his first.
And, when I played varsity basketball, I was taught from when I was playing Pee-wees that if you're going to foul, that you need to foul hard and make sure that they work for those 2 extra points as Neil makes his first free throw of the night.
So consistent Neil Marshall's been this year, averaging 13 points per game. His best offensive output came last Friday against New Palestine, where he had 20. Marshall connects on both free throws, and in that game that Delta won early in the season, they attempted 2 free throws against Yorktown, and they were both missed by Brady Hunt. That often doesn't happen, Lexi, in big games. Usually the winning team wins that free throw battle.
Absolutely.
Here's Dylan off some space and a three from the right wing. It's no good. And Hunt the board, and here's Delta pushing the other way. A 6-point lead in Jones will back up the action. Stitt the catch. Tawari shadowing. Hunt in the lane. Kick out. Bragg a corner three. No. Rebounded by Dunn, and a loose ball foul as Dunn secured the basketball. It'll be Yorktown basketball with 36 seconds to play here in the first.
Nice job by Dunn to get in there and get his hands on the ball and make them foul him. Now he brings the ball up the court for the Tigers.
A.J. Dunn on the controls. Jones the defender. Here's Walker Moore, his first catch. Again, first action since the Greenfield Central game on December 18th. Nursing a foot injury. He'll have limited minutes tonight. Morrow with deep position at mid-range territory now. With the clock situation, Yorktown looks to hold for the final look. They're down 6 in the hands of their best scorer, A.J. Dunn. He spins at the free throw line, elevates, extra pass to Evans in the paint. White banks in two. The clock expires in the first. An excellent end of quarter play for Yorktown. They draw within 4 as we end the first. Second quarter when we return next on Zaleski Sports.
I got a hunger burning inside me, satisfied by just one thing. So I run to the phone and dial the number for Pizza King. I'm gonna ring the king. The king delivers. I'm gonna ring the king. An incredibly delicious royal feast pizza on the best crust you ever tasted. Ring the king. Pizza King.
Sparks Computerized Car Care on West Bethel Avenue in Muncie is Delaware County's best choice for all your car needs. Visit sparksauto.net to schedule your appointment. We're done with one quarter. Yorktown and Delta in the quarterfinals of the Boys Delaware County Tournament here at Delta High School. One of these teams will move on to Friday night against the Cowan Blackhawks at Cowan High School. 4-point lead, and what did you see in that first half from Delta and Yorktown combining for 34 points in the first quarter?
Really what I saw the most was Brady Hunt just dominating out on the floor. He came out and got a quick feed to start the first quarter, and he's been dominant in the paint ever since.
It's Stitt swinging around to Marshall, now Maynard the catch. In the Corner Jones hit a pair of threes, now tries a mid-range jumper, connects there. He's 3 for 3 so far. That unexpected production coming big in the first half from their point guard. 8 for Blake Jones. Tawari, the push, done, a catch and shoot 3, no, and Jones the board. They've been looking for that third scorer, and game after game, Blake Jones is starting to gain some confidence at that point guard position. He, a few games back right before the Christmas break, had 9 against Northeastern. Already in the first half, has 8 here. As a missed lay-in and loose ball, last touch by Yorktown out of bounds, stays with Delta. Logan Maynard will be the inbounder. Hunt catches in the corner on the inbound. Jones swing around to Marshall. Stitt to Jones. As J.J. Evans, you can see that defense tighten up a bit. A free release for 3 for Marshall. Missed top of the perimeter. Tawari the board and pushing. Kieran Tawari. Walker Moore, a catch and shoot 3. Off the front edge. Evans offensive rebound. No, second try, yes.
Really great job by J.J. Evans there, getting in the paint, getting the first rebound, putting it back up. Got no points, gets his own rebound again, puts it back up for 2 more points.
He's had 7 or more rebounds in 4 of Yorktown's games this year as Yorktown gets the loose ball pushing the other way. Here's Morrow going right to the rim, and the bump knocked him off balance, but he'll get a couple of free throws on the foul. Or maybe that might be on the floor as well. It is. So Yorktown with a pair of subs, and into the game is freshman Jacob Grimm, the point guard. You can see number 12, and he was spectacular last Friday night. We'll see if he provides that spark again. Here's a lob to Moore. Mid-range jumper, Loveless, no. Hunt the board, pushing. He's been so good in transition. Stops for a moment. Stitt, free lane, in the lane. Lay-in is short. Trying to get his own rebound, no.
Yeah, and that might have been a case of Stitt was so wide open that, he just kind of whiffed it by himself there.
Done one-on-one with Jones. Gives up to Grimm. Tawari on the arc. A step-back jumper. Hit the floor, hit the shot. Tawari's first points in the contest come in the second quarter. It's a 2-point game, Lexi.
And man, has the script flipped a lot. Yorktown came out in the second quarter wanting to get back in the game as they have, like you said, 2-point game.
A double team, and Marshall tried to give it up, and then at the last moment was fouled by Jacob Grimm. He'll pick up his first personal foul. 9 points on 3 threes against Tipton last Friday. 2 rebounds, a couple of assists. He was all over the place. A young man that started the year on junior varsity, but when you're playing as well as he was on that level, they had to get him varsity minutes, and that spark has continued at the highest level, Lexi. Hunt with the catch as J.J. Evans came back in the game, and that is Simon immediately. Maynard back to Hunt. Evans gets tight. Now Marshall on the arc. Slower moving in this half-court set. A catch for Hunt. Gets a ball screen. Evans goes full extension, takes away the basketball, and Yorktown on the run. Here's Dunn. Had it pumped away by Marshall. Lost footing out of bounds before he could save it in, but what an effort on the other end. J.J. Evans created that turnover, and Mark Detweiler wants to talk about it. Yorktown feels the momentum come to their side. It's a 2-point game, and 4:53 remains here in the first half. The Indiana National Guard is now offering a $20,000 bonus and will train you for your new career. Visit the Muncie National Guard on University Avenue in the Ball State Village to get started. Well, 9 straight wins in this series for Delta. The last loss that they had actually came in the tournament back in 2017, but if you go back a little further, the other loss came in this very tournament in the championship game in 2015. That was won by Yorktown, a thrilling victory by 3, and really, a lot of people feel like this matchup, a little preview of somebody that may have a chance to get to the championship, although Cowan Wading is also a very difficult matchup as well. This side of the bracket very loaded with these three schools and trying to figure out who's going to go where.
Yeah, and I think we are going to have a really good game here tonight. I mean, it's a 2-point ball game. First quarter, the Eagles kind of came out, and I thought that the Eagles were going to run away with it, but I don't know what head coach Matt Moulton said to J.J. Evans and his team, but I know J.J. and the rest of his team have came out, and they've had a fire lit under their rears because they have been on it since the second quarter.
Yorktown shooting a lot better than they shot in the first matchup when they shot just 30% from the floor. It's done at the catch. Top of the arc, ball screen. Loveless was free for a moment, and then Hunt almost stole the basketball, and it's out of bounds, right back to Yorktown. Hunt holding his elbow as he went full extension for that basketball. A.J. Dunn on the far sideline will inbound the basketball. Grimm with Tawari in the left-hand corner. Now Dunn, been a bit quiet offensively here in the second quarter of play. Pick and roll, Evans to the rack, acrobatic lay-in, no. Rebounded by Delta. They lead by 2, been a bit quiet offensively in this second quarter.
And Delta really just taking their time here, making sure that their offense is being ran like it needs to, not really forcing any shots.
Marshall let the defender go by, fired a 3. No. Offensive rebound, Jones. Delta maintains control in their half court. They're okay with long possessions in their half court. Again, we mentioned averaging 49 points per game, and a lot of the games that they have won have been right around the high 40s or low 50s, controlling the game from a defensive standpoint. Jones, the point guard, to Marshall, harassed by the defensive Jacob Grimm. Maynard inside. Hunt is trying to get loose, but J.J. Evans is not letting it. And the Yorktown fans behind us liking this slow-moving offensive set for Delta. They've wasted about a minute in their half court as Marshall tries a baseline jumper, no, and a rebound from Dunn, and a loose ball found by Delta.
And if you're Yorktown, that is exactly what you wanted to see. It's a long possession. Defenders' legs are starting to get tired, but none of them gave up, and then a foul was forced on the rebound there.
A.J. Dunn will walk it full court length.
It's time to eat. Filet mignon. Filet mignon. Right?
Tawari a 3. Missed it and Delta the board.
Beautiful play there by Yorktown, setting up the elevator-like screen for Tawiri.
Swing to Maynard. Now Jones alone, a 3. It would be his third. It's no good. Loveless the board, and Yorktown again tying or taking the lead on this possession's possible. Grimm a transition 3, and Yorktown has the lead.
Grimm comes out, gets the huge three-pointer that puts Yorktown up by 1, 22-21 is the score. You can hear Yorktown fans behind us. They were ecstatic.
Just like 5 days ago, the spark in the form of freshman Jacob Grimm hitting his first 3. It's a 1-point lead, led into Hunt, answering the 3. No. Rebound batted around. Marshall has the loose ball, steps back out, a 3 from there. No. One in another offensive board, and Delta's now going to hold, and Mark Detweiler wants a timeout. 2:06 remaining in the first half. It's a 1-point Yorktown lead.
Yeah, and that was a great timeout called by the Delta head coach there. I think we could all see that the Eagles were kind of rushing their offense. They feel the pressure now being down 1 point. They've had the lead for all of the game, and now Yorktown comes up with a huge three-pointer from their freshman and now scores 22-21. Great timeout there by the head coach of the Delta Eagles.
It was a 19-15 game, lead for Delta by 4 after the first. It's been much more slower moving in this second quarter from an offensive standpoint, but Yorktown takes their second lead of the game since the game was a 2-0 start for them in literally the first 3 seconds of the contest. Ruoff Mortgage on North Wheeling Avenue in Muncie has great rates and payment options to refinance your current home. Ruoff will also help you get an affordable monthly payment for your new home. Call Ruoff in Muncie, 765-587-2280. Under 2 to play in the first half. This is Parker Folletic. Entry pass looking for Hunt. It's kicked and maintaining control Delta in their half court. 1:47 in the second quarter.
And everyone knows a kickball is illegal in basketball, but sometimes a kickball, that throws the offense off just enough for the defenders to come out and be able to get a big steal.
Abrams stood on the arc. Maynor in between decisions. Feeds Wooden. He's at the free throw line. Swinging a pass out to the corner, and it's batted away. Staying with Delta in their half court. The half court defensive effort for Yorktown is ramped up here in the last couple moments.
Delta just hasn't been able to get anything going on offense just yet.
Marshall to Stitt. Folletic was walking the baseline. Now Stitt has a free lane. And Wooden on the catch. Swing to Hunt. Going to work. Elevating for the pass. A Stitt three that's contested. No. Jacob Graham letting the basketball go out of bounds. And so Yorktown, the basketball with just over a minute to play in the first half.
I'm doing my own conversation.
If you're Matt Moulton and his crew, regardless of how the first half ends, you have to be absolutely thrilled with the way you've kept pace in this game, exactly what they talked about coming in. And for a half at least, it's to expectations. Quick three, Dunn knocking it down, left leg.
Dunn coming in with the clutch three-pointer just now under a minute left in the first half of play. That puts Yorktown up by 4.
His third triple of the first half. Hunt goes to work. Shifty on the baseline. Trapped there. Extra pass that is intercepted. Dunn in transition. Way in ahead of the defense.
A.J. Dunn now with 11 points. 5 of those coming within the last 30 seconds.
And Yorktown, a lead by 6. Caught on the perimeter. Evans nearly slipped through, but then tripped over Hunt, and it's a foul trying to jump that passing lane. Yorktown feels the momentum late in this first half.
J.J. Evans has been doing a great job guarding Brady Hunt and making sure that he doesn't have the ball in his hands too often or for too long.
Hunt had 7 points in the first quarter. In the second, 0. It's been the defense of Yorktown that has ranked up. Blake Jones with the clock winding down here in the first half. Jones works off a ball screen. Jones to the lane. Blocked at the rim by Lovelace, but they save body as well. Blake Jones will get a pair of free throws with just under 4 seconds to play in the first half.
And in a close game like this, free throws can make or break a game for either team. Not that free throws don't matter in a blowout game, but especially in a close-knit game like this, they are crucial.
Jones 2 for 6 from the line, make that 3 for 7. He leads the Delta team with 9 points here in the first half.
And for Delta, number 50, Abrams set.
1 more for Jones to cut the lead to 4. Jones misses, batted around, Tawari fouled underneath the lane, and 1.5 seconds remain. It's not enough to put Delta at the line, and Tawari comes up limping a bit. Delta's going to have to go the full length of the floor with a second and a half remaining. More important to get this safely in than be aggressive. Grimm has it, three-quarters score deep. No. And that's the end of the first half. Yorktown takes the lead heading to the locker room at halftime, 27-22. Halftime coverage coming in moments. This is Zaleski Sports.
A licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 21 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
For more than 35 years, online and through our branch office locations, Ruoff Mortgage has helped people discover, finance, and move into their homes with confidence. From the moment you send in an application to the day you get the keys, Ruoff keeps things moving exceptionally fast. By sharing knowledge and professional guidance, Ruoff Mortgage helps people see the potential and excitement in the homeownership experience. Visit one of our convenient branch locations or get started online at ruoff.com.
Issue of Hoosier Basketball Magazine is on sale here this evening. This 288-page.
Welcome back to Delta High School, where Yorktown has a 5-point lead at halftime. Lexi Eben, myself, Mark Forster. It's been an exciting first half that has seen a couple of different runs, Lexi. What stood out to you in the first half?
Well, I mean, in the first half, I'm going to start with the first quarter. Brady Hunt came out and scored 5 points early in the first quarter. He got a really quick three-pointer off the mark, and he ends the half with 7. And then Blake Jones, he came out really nicely for the Delta Eagles. He has 9 points. He missed a crucial free throw down at the line there with about 5 seconds left on the clock, but I mean, the game isn't over. There's still a whole other half of play left. And then for Yorktown, I think J.J. Evans and A.J. Dunn is really where the story is for them. A.J. Dunn has 11 points. 5 of those came within the last 30 seconds of that second quarter. And then J.J. Evans, he only has 6 points on the night, but he has done a great job containing Brady Hunt.
Both teams had their different spurts throughout the game. Yorktown took a quick 2-0 lead, and then Delta really went on a fury in the first half of play, or first quarter of play. That is, 19-15 was the end of the first quarter, and obviously in the second quarter, the pace of the offensive side of things slowed down a bit. It was a 12-3 advantage in the second quarter for the Yorktown Tigers that was able to give them a 5-point lead going into the halftime break. I mean, that's huge, the way you were able to swing things. And for Yorktown, what happened in the first game and what's happened in some of these games that they've lost over the last 9, Delta maintains control. You get so close but can't get over that hump. The way that they were able to shift that momentum, what does that mean going to the second half for their confidence in the second half of the play, the most important moments of this basketball game?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to have to come out and be on top of the ball again to make sure that they come out and can secure a win. They have a 5-point lead right now over Delta, and if Yorktown wants to keep the ball rolling in the direction that it is with them having the lead, they're going to have to keep getting the ball into the hands of A.J. Dunn, because Dunn has been automatic from the three-point line. He's gotten points within the paint, and he's drawn nice contact on the other side of the floor on rebounding fouls.
11 points for A.J. Dunn in the first half. He had 3 triples until he had a steal that led to a 2-point bucket in transition. For Yorktown, they have had 6 players score, led by the 11 from A.J. Dunn, also 6 from J.J. Evans. 3 players in total for Delta, but I think the most noteworthy of that, Marshall and Hunt, are the expected. Both of those guys have been very relied on heavy from an offensive standpoint, but it's been the unexpected production from Blake Jones, who has 9 points in the first half of play. His season high as a Delta Eagle this year, 9 points in a 4-quarter basketball game against Northeastern. He has that production in the first half. That's been a big lift for the Delta offensive unit in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely, and that really messes a lot of things up for Yorktown, because when you're practicing, you really key in on the main production players for Delta, and I know that they probably weren't expecting Blake Jones to come out. You can absolutely tell that they were ready for J.J. Evans to come out and really contain Brady Brady Hunt. Neil Marshall has been contained really well, and so it's created opportunities for Blake Jones that might not have always been there in other games because he's not being as focused on as Neil Marshall and Brady Hunt.
Are there adjustments that you see from both sides as you head to the second half?
I think that Yorktown I think that they just need to clean up a little bit on Blake Jones, make sure he's not as open, keep another eye on him maybe, but I think that they're doing a great job containing Brady Hunt. And I really think that for Delta on the defensive end, they're really, really aggressive on the boards, but almost too aggressive. There's been several loose ball fouls on the rebound. I think they're going to have to clean those up if they want to get back into this game.
Well, at halftime here in the quarterfinals of the Delaware County Boys Basketball Tournament again, the quarterfinals has just one game tonight. Typically has two, but Westdale has moved on with Daleville unable to being able to play this week. So they will advance to the Wapahani site. Wapahani and Westdale will play at 6 o'clock on Friday for the semifinals of the Boys Delaware County Basketball Tournament. This game, the winner of this goes to Cowan High School on Friday night at 6 o'clock as well. Both of those games happening simultaneously at different sites. And for the girls tournament, the semifinals, I should say, happen tomorrow at different sites across our area, with the championships of both games at different sites on Saturday because of all the different changing angles. So the girls county championship, 4 o'clock. That game at Yorktown High School, regardless of who's in it. And Delta, this site right here, will host the boys county championship game at 7 o'clock on Saturday night as well. We'll return for more coverage right here on Zaleski Sports. Both teams getting ready for the second half, and we'll take a break. We'll be back for the start of the second half next on Zaleski Sports.
Sparks Computerized Car Care on West Bethel Avenue in Muncie is your complete auto service and maintenance shop in Muncie. Family owned and operated since 1990 with over 100 years of combined experience. Standard maintenance, tire service, brake repair, engine transmission, and more. Sparks Computerized Car Care will take care of you bumper to bumper. Schedule an appointment online at sparksauto.net. That's sparksauto.net. Sparks Computerized Car Care in Muncie.
One thing, so I run to the phone and dial the number for Pizza King. I'm gonna ring the king. The king delivers. I'm gonna ring the king. An incredibly delicious royal beef pizza on the best crust you ever tasted. Ring the king. Pizza King.
There's no question that the start of the Delaware County Boys Basketball Tournament with these two teams meeting, Delta and Yorktown, provides a lot of storylines, a lot of interest, and the first half has not disappointed, with Yorktown taking a 5-point lead as we start this second half. And Lexi, we were talking about some of the adjustments that you'll see, but these two teams facing off right away, for the other teams in the area. One of the major maybe favorites in this tournament is going to be knocked off early, but both of these teams have had their moments. I'm going to key on a couple of things. You mentioned Yorktown's defense and the ability to get in the passing lanes. That really affected their second quarter, but I think something to worry for Yorktown is the way the offensive rebounds and loose balls for Delta have been a factor in the first half. So both teams have an advantage in some of those areas, either than opposite of scoring, I should say, Lexi.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the offensive rebounds for Delta. There have been several times there have been 3-4 rebounds that have happened on the offensive side for Delta, and that doesn't happen very often. Usually, if there is an offensive rebound, you might see 1, maybe 2, but for there to be 3 or 4, that is something that definitely needs to be cleaned up by Yorktown.
These two teams, no strangers to one another. Of course, they always have their early December matchup between the two, but this is the 4th straight year that both of these teams have played twice in one season. Last year they played 3 times, so the regular season matchup in the Delaware County Tournament and in the sectional. They're in the same sectional again, and it just seems like they find each other at some point. So the familiarity, and that's what Matt Moulton and his staff at Yorktown felt like. Hey, that first matchup, we didn't quite like the way we competed. We felt like we got out-coached, and this second matchup is a way to adjust, and it's a great opportunity because they know at some point down the road they'll likely have to see Delta again, but the first half was exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, and you talk about the history between these two teams. I want to touch on the last time they met already this season. Evans was 6 for 6. J.J. Evans was 6 for 6 in field goal range, and then A.J. Dunn, the leader for Yorktown on the scoring board, he only had 7 points, and he already has 11 in tonight's contest.
Well, here we start the second half with Yorktown 5-point lead at halftime. Dunn to Grimm. Grimm's going to start the second half of play, so this is a three freshman starting lineup. Evans picks up a loose ball, can't hit the lay-in, and a strong board from Brady Hunt. Evans kind of cut down the momentum that Hunt was going to have on the break. He gets loose, Hunt on the catch on the baseline, and a bump from Evans, a foul.
Evans is definitely not afraid to get in there and bump and shove Brady Hunt there, as that's what the foul was called there, a blocking foul on J.J. Evans.
Well, clearly his 6 points big in the first half as Grimm knocks down the inbound pass out of bounds, staying with Delta. But, his 6 points huge, but his number one priority is staying on the hip of Brady Hunt, and he's not letting him out of his sight. Jones on the arc. Evans having no trouble shadowing Brady Hunt. Hunt's doing all he can to move around. Watch number 32, and he gets a ball screen trying to move off of it, and away from that action, a travel on Delta will give Yorktown the basketball back on the turnover.
Yeah, you were talking about Hunt trying to do everything that he could to attempt to get the ball, but J.J. Evans, you saw him slip 2 or 3 screens there right on the baseline to stay right on the hip of Hunt.
Dunn on the perimeter, 11 points in the first half. Now Grimm. Loveless with Hunt defending. Tawaria catch and shoot 3, and he hits. You can see the confidence of this offensive attack for the Yorktown Tigers, their largest lead at 8. Hunt affected from getting in the lane. It's Jones. Free throw line, now a curl and a pull-up from Marshall, misfired, and Dunn the board for Yorktown.
And we talked about in our halftime coverage how Marshall and Hunt are really the productive two for the Delta offense, and I think that was a little rushed there by Marshall on the last possession.
Hunt takes the loose ball, misses a jumper, Wood in the offensive board, and before he can put up the shot, Mark Detweiler, Delta head coach, wants another timeout, trying to break what Yorktown's momentum. They've come out in the second half with the same momentum they had in the first half. Ring the King now for delivery, carryout, and dine-in. Call your neighborhood Pizza King and enjoy a fresh hot pizza as you watch tonight's game. Ring the King. It is Pizza King. There's a lot of things of concern for Delta, and you can see Mark Detweiler is having a very frank conversation. Very important to the head coach is, hey, what we talked about early, we want to do in the game, and at different moments, you've got to get your team's attention, and at this point, defensively or offensively, they're not doing what they normally do as far as working the basketball inside, long possessions, and it's affecting their defense because Yorktown's able to get some transition baskets, Lexi.
Yeah, and something I noticed when I was looking at some stats earlier this week in preparation for this game is that Delta is really a first half kind of team. They they average 13 points in both the first and second quarters, and then from then on out, it's about 10, 11 in the third and fourth quarters. So Delta's going to have to come out and really pick it up in this third and fourth quarter to try and get a win.
Only 3 points scored in the second quarter, and right now they are scoreless thus far here in the third in the early portion. Jones on the controls, Hunt on the catch. Harassed by Evans. Stood the weave at the top of the key. Yorktown's doing a pretty nice job of staying in front. Stood on the attack. Not much space to operate.
Really, really great, sound, fundamental defense happening for Yorktown, and that's all you can ask of your guys.
Marshall was looking for Hunt, not much doing there. And Yorktown's got a lot to clap about. Hunt stumbles on the dribble.
It is evident that the Eagles are frantic out there on the floor, not being able to get anything near the rim. That's the closest they've got.
Marshall misses the turnaround jumper. It's out of bounds, and Yorktown basketball.
And I feel like that's twice in a row that we've seen Marshall get the ball in his hands, and rather than look for a pass right away, he immediately looks at the bucket and forces a shot that maybe he shouldn't take there. Marshall definitely going to have to watch out for that in the continuation of this game.
Yorktown breaks the backcourt pressure as the defense changes. Grimm an open three. It went halfway down, and Delta the board.
Jacob Grimm is someone that I've been really impressed with so far in the game. He has 3 points so far, and I mean, he may not be saying much.
Hunt at the rim was blocked and then stepped out of bounds with the basketball. It is Yorktown basketball as the Yorktown half-court defense has been phenomenal and continues that way.
It really, really has been.
And that's what you like when you have a J.J. Evans type, a mobile big man that also has the athleticism to stay with the 6'5" Brady Hunt. Here's Tawari turning to the rim and fouled at the rack. Free throws coming.
Tawari has been dominant when he's been out on the floor. If he isn't making the shots, he's setting the shots up for his teammates because he's drawing so much attention from the defense. And when he isn't able to make shots, he's able to draw a foul and get to the line for a possible 2 points.
Tawari misses the first. Yorktown, a sophomore and 3 freshmen are part of their primary rotation, and it's sometimes you have to just stop for a moment and realize these freshmen are 11 games into their first varsity experience, and Tawari splits a pair. He's one of them. Yorktown's lead grows to 9 as Delta looking for a patient offensive set. Jones the drive, denied at the rim, but Loveless may have gotten a little contact.
And in our halftime show, we talked about Jones not really being usually one of the star players for the Eagles, but tonight he's really shown out and has really been a deciding factor for the Delta Eagles.
Jones misses the first, and they were confident in his shooting ability. It's just a matter of translating that from practice to game time. And early on in the contest, he had some open opportunities, hit a couple of jumpers, and really has played well offensively. Missed that first free throw, another coming. He splits a pair. Blake Jones has 10, and the backcourt pressure continues for Delta. A.J. Dunn breaks it safely. Moulton in a tough spot, feeds a tight lane to Loveless and away in 2. What an excellent pass by freshman Mason Moulton.
I mean, great job by Loveless to recognize that he had his man beat and take it straight into the rack, no hesitation whatsoever.
Stitt the drive, Bragg steps out for 3. No. Dunn the board, and Yorktown the push. Under 4 to play in the third.
And that is Clay Bragg's second 3-point attempt on the night, missing both.
Loveless strong in between 2 defenders, and the lead continues to grow for Yorktown. It's 12.
That's 2 in a row for Loveless, the same exact move, same place on the court. The Delta defense is really going to have to clean that up.
Yorktown has fed off the momentum of their crowd here and also their defensive efforts. On a quick catch. Marshall's been awfully quiet since the first quarter. Now Hunt. More defense. Hunt to Stitt, a 3. Yes, and that's a big one.
You mentioned that being a big 3-pointer for Stitt, just bringing them under double digits. Now the lead is 9 for Yorktown.
Done the more, a 3 to answer. No. Moulton the board offensively. Back to Dunn, a 3. No. And Hunt the board for Delta. This is a big sequence. Hunt to push. Hunt to the lane. Kick out Stitt for his second 3. He hits a couple in a row. Abram Stitt at no points this season in 7 games and hits 2 back-to-back threes that are large and force a Matt Moulton timeout. Wow.
And that second three-pointer coming from arguably one of the hardest places on the floor to hit a shot, that corner three, and he hit it. It looked effortless.
How bad do you want it, Tiger?
What a nice turnaround for a role player and a young man they brought up to get experience, but also they just needed some depth, and he hit a couple of back-to-back big-time threes, and the lead a moment ago was 12 for Yorktown. It is now down to 6.
Yeah, I mean, Delta, they came out, got the ball into Abram Stitt's hands. He got 2 back-to-back three-pointers. That's 6 points in less than 30, maybe even less than 20 seconds there. Huge momentum change for the Delta Eagles. And for Yorktown, their defense has been really stellar. It just so happens that they weren't playing Stitt super tight, because like you said, before those 2 three-pointers, he had no points recorded on the season.
On the home floor of the Delta Eagles, Yorktown certainly expected a response from the home team and the 2-time defending Delaware County Tournament champions. It is Yorktown basketball out of the timeout. Moulton gets the inbound. Here's a pass intercepted by Abram Stitt. 2-on-1. Stitt to the lane, lost control of the basketball, and it is Delta basketball. Ooh, Yorktown fans, I don't know if they agree.
I mean, it was definitely a close call there.
Stitt to inbound. Hunt backing down Evans in the lane, and Evans fouled him before Hunt could get up the attempt.
Evans recording his 3rd foul on the night. We're in the 3rd quarter, so, I mean, he's got 2 more fouls for a whole extra quarter of play.
It's Blake Jones at the top of the key. You could feel Delta playing with a little bit more of a loose feel in their offensive set. Marshall the curl a 3. No. Hunt gets the offensive board, putback is in, and the lead is only 4 for Yorktown.
And that's Hunt's first basket since, I believe, the first quarter, late in the first quarter.
A quick, and I mean very quick, 8-0 run for the Delta Eagles. Done the pass, another interception by Abram Stitt.
Abram Stitt has come out and has been on fire. 2 back-to-back three-pointers, 2 back-to-back steals.
Hunt to Marshall, now Wooden inside. Back to Marshall with 1:20 in the 3rd. It's been swinging back and forth in this quarter. Stitt setting from the corner. Now Marshall the curl. A pump fake. And Jones controls. Here's Hunt in the lane and a travel. So Yorktown gets the basketball back, and they needed a defensive stop to aid their offense. Delta's Jaden Funny in the game for the final moments of the 3rd. As Grimm hands off to Dunn. Dunn tightly guarded by Jones, elevating for a pass. Now reverse to Moore. Grimm gets a ball screen, nearly lost control. Out of control a bit. Tawari steps out of a 3 and steps into a mid-range jumper that falls out. Off the board and fouled immediately by Jacob Grant.
That is just a foul that comes off of pure aggression, wanting to get that ball. He didn't necessarily mean to go into Hunt and foul him, but he was just trying to get his hands on the ball, and that unfortunately is what happens sometimes, stopping the clock for an inbound.
It was about 2.5 minutes ago of game time that Yorktown had a 12-point lead, and now Delta the basketball with the clock winding down in the 3rd to cut it to a single possession. It's Jones on the controls. Man-to-man defense for Yorktown, and now safely into the hands of Brady Hunt. Moulton wants a double team to come. Hunt give up. Jones a three. Missed everything. Wood in the board. With time running down, leans back for a shot. It's short. And that is the end of the third quarter. We have a good one going to the fourth. We're back for it on Zaleski Sports next.
A licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 21 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
About ready for the fourth quarter in the quarterfinals of the Delaware County Boys Basketball Tournament. One team moving on to face Cowan on Friday, and it's been a good one between the two 3A schools in the Delaware County Tournament, the Delta Eagles and the Yorktown Tigers. Yorktown's lost the last 9 matchups in this series. We've been talking about it all night, Lexi. They have a 4-point lead heading to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it has been an outstanding game. Really, for both teams here. We saw Delta come out early in the first quarter. They played phenomenally. Then Yorktown came out in the second quarter, really took the lead, and now Delta's trying to work their way back in, trying to change that lead possession one more time.
From the second quarter till about 3 minutes gone in the third quarter, Delta scored a grand total of 3 points, and then in the final 4 minutes of the third quarter, a 9-point run that they broke a 12-point lead, what was a 12-point lead for Yorktown. Jones setting up in the corner. He thought about the three, thought better of it, and swung the basketball around. This is vintage Delta basketball as Marshall drives inside, patient, missed the lay-in. Tawari has the board for Yorktown, and they control. Dunn on the catch on the perimeter. 11 points in the first half, had no points in the third. Grimm on the arc. Now to Tawari. A difficult angle in the lane. Abrams still doing a nice job defensively in Tawari. Tawari blows by inside the lane. Now Loveless, a shot that missed. And Delta will have the basketball down by 4.
Now, I want to point something out. Keep your eye on number 4 in the white jersey and number 12 there in the black. Watch how Jacob Grimm is face guarding number 4 there, not letting him get anything. We talked about how Marshall is usually a really big producer for the Delta offense, and I mean, all night long, Yorktown has just been face guarding him, not letting him get anything.
On a turnaround jumper, no. Wooden the offensive board, put back, no. Wooden nearly had another offensive board, and I believe he was fouled in the act of getting it. The possessions are getting tighter as we go, and Delta will control the basketball. It was a foul on Yorktown. Jacob Grimm has his third personal foul. A long pass intercepted by Grimm. Great pass to Dunn and leads him in for 2. What an excellent dish by Jacob Grimm. It's freshman to sophomore.
I mean, wow. Jacob Grimm only has 3 points on the night, but I said it once and I'll say it again. Those 3 points do not speak enough for Jacob Grimm and his performance tonight. If he's not doing it on the ball, he's doing it off the ball, setting up a really crucial layup there for his teammate.
Jaden Fernie now to Marshall. 6-point deficit for the Delta Eagles. Hunt faces up Evans. Drives. Fernie, a 3. And missed it. Fight for the rebound as Blake Jones somehow comes up with it. And Hunt in the lane will draw a foul on J.J. Evans. Might be his 4th personal foul.
And if that is J.J. Evans' 4th personal foul, that's trouble for Yorktown because he's been doing a great job containing Brady Hunt. As it is his 4th foul, they're probably going to pull him out as you see his sub come in right there.
That's a tough decision. 5:28 to go, 1 foul to go. It might be go full force, but he might just sit for a very short amount of time. Hunt gets the inbound. Facing up more. Pump fake. Now to Fernie. As Bragg, entry to Hunt. They continue to find different spots to get him in the basketball. Underneath the basket. Now Bragg. Marshall. Drive. Elevates. Banker. No. It's Hunt getting on the floor for the board. Kick out. 30 of 3. No. Hunt another offensive board. Put back. No. And more the board for Yorktown finally.
I mean, that was quite the offensive possession there for Delta. Had 3, maybe 4 rebounds back-to-back there. Just couldn't come up with anything.
Here's a kick out for Grimm. Now Tawari spotting up a 3. Knocks it through.
And Tawari has been clutch. When they've needed him to come away with points, he has, just like he did right there, putting the Yorktown Tigers up by 9. And something that's incredible about Indiana basketball is the atmosphere that comes with it. There's not very many fans here in the arena due to COVID and things like that. But, I mean, Yorktown, I'm sure you can hear them behind us. It sounds like they have a couple hundred.
Hunt answers the 3 on his own from the left wing. And the lead back down to 6. Mark Delaware takes an immediate timeout. That was a difficult 3 from Brady Hunt. And the lead still 6 for Yorktown and a timeout on the floor. You just have a feeling that down the stretch here, Delta's going to have some sort of answer, but Yorktown has weathered every storm that they've seen so far in this contest. They still lead by 6.
I mean, Yorktown has done a really good job identifying what they need to do on defense to keep Delta from being able to get the ball into their moneymakers' hands. That's Hunt, Marshall, and surprisingly Blake Jones on tonight's game.
Yorktown 6-4 heading into tonight. Delta 5-2. Both of them had big wins last Friday, but Yorktown is in their 4 losses. 3 of those have come by 4 points or less. Delta, after a couple of losses right before the holidays against Northeastern, a really solid 2A team, and Harrison and 4A, who plays one of the most difficult schedules in the state, they backed it up with a win against New Palestine, who is the leader in the Hoosier Heritage Conference, 1-1 here at Delta High School.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt both of these teams are talented, and both of these teams came to play.
Full court pressure from Delta, testing the Yorktown discipline. Loveless in the forecourt. Extra pass done. Lay-in, yes, and a foul.
Beautiful read there, coming from the other side of the floor. You see A.J. Dunn, he cuts to the basket. I was waiting for him to get the ball in his hands, fouled on the shot. Now he's at the line.
The foul on Blake Jones, it was his first and done, connects on the free throw. 16 points for a game high. Under 4 to play in the contest. Stick on the arc, finds a free lane, gets to the rim, and lays in 2.
I mean, Stick came in the game late, and man, oh man, has he been good since he has came in. He has 9 points now.
Moore led right to the rim as they break the Delta backcourt pressure.
I mean, Yorktown looked like they're running a 3-man weave there, just like they do in practice.
Here's Stick. Hunt, the pump fake, baseline. Bragg, along 3. Missed it. Loveless the rebound. Grimm saves it in. Dunn, ahead to Tawari, and he'll lay it in ahead of the defense. Kieran Tawari with 11. Yorktown has an 11-point lead, and Delta looks to counter.
Yorktown is just breaking Delta down bit by bit.
Jones misses a 3, and Kieran Tawari the board. He throws a pass that's deflected out by Delta, but it's Yorktown basketball up 11. What a job by both Walker Moore and J.J. Evans.
What a job by Yorktown in the transition offense there, getting 4 points quickly off a transition offense.
J.J. Evans on the far sideline, long pass, and Grimm has to save it in, throws it up for grabs, and Hunt reels it in. Delta on the attack. Hunt nearly lost it. Skip pass. Bragg. Extra pass for Marshall at 3. No. Ball skips out of the hands of Stitt for the offensive board. And Jacob Grimm has the board fouled immediately by Brady Hunt.
I mean, it's crunch time now for the Delta Eagles. They're down by 11, 2 minutes and 25 seconds left. Definitely enough time for them to come back, but they're going to have to do it in quick fashion.
So J.J. Evans will be the inbounder, and now it's about ball control for Yorktown. Evans in the backcourt, dribbling with Bragg on him, and a foul in the backcourt by Clay Bragg. It is the 14th foul on the Delta Eagles in the second half of play.
And not an ideal foul there for Delta. Not that there really is an ideal foul unless you're trying to stop the clock. But J.J. Evans was definitely in the backcourt panicking, and the foul might have bailed him out.
Grimm nearly had it stolen by Hunt, but there was contact and another foul, as it's the 15th foul on Delta. With 2:15, you wonder if they're playing the long game to start the foul game now to slow down this game. Evans in the backcourt, Loveless. Now a handoff to Grimm, double team. Grimm, Tawari thought about the 3. He's surrounded by 3 Delta players, and now Loveless in the post. Matt Moulton wants a timeout.
Good timeout there by Coach Moulton there. He saw his team was in trouble. I mean, really, they had him triple team down there in the corner, so really, there's an extra defender there with the out-of-bounds line there. Really good timeout to give his team a quick rest, tell him what the game plan is. I bet right now he's telling them to not rush anything, kind of weave the ball around the court, and try and hold on to it as long as they can.
Well, clearly Delta's got to score in order to put some pressure on Yorktown, but they more imperatively have to score in order to set up their backcourt, full-court pressure, which has been something they've turned to here in the second half. It's important. So in the forecourt, Kieran Tawari will be the inbounder. Yorktown 205 away from moving on to the semifinals of the Delaware County Boys Basketball Tournament. Tawari to Dunn. Dunn weaves around pressure. It's Grimm. Now Tawari to Evans, and Yorktown is content with running clock, and Evans is bumped by 2 players. A foul called. Parker Folletic, his first personal foul.
His second, team foul number 6.
Yorktown doing a nice job handling the ball, not letting Delta get their hands on it to get a quick turnover.
Grimm inbounds to Loveless. Loveless back to Grimm. As long as the ball's on the perimeter, you won't see shots fired. Evans in the post. Kick out Loveless, and Evans is fouled, and now 1-and-1 free throws begin with a minute 45 to play, an 11-point Yorktown lead. As a team, Yorktown shoots 66% from the line. Evans' first is perfect. Seven points for senior big man J.J. Evans. The second is good, too. 8 for him. Hunt, a quick 3 the other way, and he hits.
Nice job by Hunt coming out in transition and making sure to get a quick point.
15 for Hunt. Grimm in the backcourt harassed. Now Hunt gets close to Evans and fouls immediately. Starting the long game as Hunt picks up his second foul, and as long as there's a make on the other end by Delta, I would imagine you would see the foul game happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, I mean, they're in a situation where they have to foul to stop the clock, and they're hoping that J.J. Evans misses as he does not.
A 61% free throw shooter, Evans, has now hit 3 in a row. Trying to go 4 for 4 from the line. Does so.
And this is when free throws become very crucial
Again, a three. Misfires badly. Dunn the board and fouled immediately. So A.J. Dunn the other way to the free throw line. Yorktown has done a magnificent job defensively. Right now, where this stands for Delta would be the lowest offensive output of the season. But you know, if you get to the 50s against Delta, you have a really good chance. And that is exactly what Yorktown's done. Is A.J. Dunn rattles in a free throw. Man, I tell you what, talk about closing out a game. Biggest moments of the game, these free throws need hit. You're 5 for 5. Now 5 for 6. Loveless the offensive board, and Yorktown will keep control in their half court as Neil Marshall fouls Kieran Tawari.
Really big offensive board there for Loveless. Keep the ball in Yorktown's hands. They're trying to choose some clock, make Delta use a majority of their fouls.
So now Tawari to the line. Post is good. To close a game the way you're doing it.
And now Yorktown is in the double bonus, so every time they get to the line, they get to shoot 2 free throws.
And that might be it. Brady Hunt and Neil Marshall check out, likely for the final time, as Tawari hits both free throws. Yorktown to close, 7 for 8 from the free throw line, as Folletic hand off to Maynard. Thought about the three. Loveless bumps him on the arc, and a foul that stops the clock temporarily. A 15-point lead for Yorktown, and now 1-1 free throws for Delta.
And if you're Delta, these free throws are absolutely a necessity for your team right now. You're down. There's a minute 9 left. You need these points.
Maynard's free throw, no good. And Yorktown taps it out. It'll stay with Delta with a minute 08 to play. Here's a long three from Maynard. He connects right wing. Logan Maynard has 3 and a quick foul that will send A.J. Dunn right back to the line. Lead is still 12 for Yorktown. Still very much comfortably in front.
Yeah, Yorktown is sitting very comfortably with a minute 1 left. Like you said, up by 12. It's going to be really hard for Delta to come back.
Dunn's first free throw good. 8 for 9 from the line since the foul situation began late in the fourth. Missed the second. Walker-Moore the offensive board. Yorktown to hold, and A.J. Dunn controlling. Double team and a foul. Sending A.J. Dunn right back to the line. That one on Abram Stitt.
Moore coming in and getting that big offensive rebound, pushing it right back out to A.J. Dunn, giving him another chance for 2 here at the line for the Tigers.
That was the final foul for Abram Stitt, who off the bench provided some big offensive push. He had 8 points. So Dunn's first free throw rattles out. One more coming.
Reach in that cookie jar, son. Get some cookies.
13-point lead for Yorktown. Dunn to split a pair, does so. A.J. Dunn with 19 points. And Yorktown to lead 14. Maynard another 3, long banker, no. Graham the board, and Delta may have called off the pressure. It's been a long time for Yorktown, as Matt Moulton wants to take a timeout and put some subs in if he can. And we'll see. As J.J. Evans checks out, Walker-Moore checks out. They talked about the bar they needed to hit, Matt Moulton and his Yorktown crew, and they will get it, breaking a 9-game losing streak against the Delta Eagles and moving on in this Delaware County Tournament Championship. last win against Delta in this tournament came in the championship game in 2015. Their last win against Delta happened in 2017 in the sectional opener. And now a new streak begins as Yorktown moving on to Friday against Collin. 56-42 over the Delta Eagles.
Yorktown ecstatic after that win, as they should be. A very hard-fought win for the Yorktown Tigers.
The first loss for Mark Delaware as head coach against the Yorktown Tigers, and Matt Moulton now moves to 1-4 against Yorktown, losing all three matchups last year, one earlier this season, and now splitting the series in 2020-21. We'll have interviews coming up here in a moment on Zaleski Sports.
Unofficial scoring from this evening's game. First for Delta, Neil Marshall with 6, Logan Maynard with 3, Blake Jones with 10, Abram Stitt with 8, and leading the Eagles this evening with 15 points, Brady Hunt. For Yorktown, Walker Moore with 2, Jacob Grimm with 3, Carter Levis with 7, Mason Moulton with 2, J.J. Dunn with 13, J.J. Downs with 10, and leading the way tonight with 19 points, A.J. Dunn. Here tomorrow at 13.
Good, how are you? Yeah, that's right. He was talking about it last Friday, that's for sure. That's a heck of a win.
Good job, JJ. JJ.
Congrats, Coach. Thank you. Let me know when we're ready. Are we ready?
All right, Coach, the floor is yours. Nine-game losing streak against Delta broken. You move on in the Delaware County tournament. What stood out about the victory?
Well, it's kind of tough to process it right at the moment, but I think if you just would have been down in our locker room just a second ago, you would have seen just the sheer jubilation. I mean, we've got beat up by Delta pretty good the last 5 or 6 years. You know, 0-10 or 0-11, the last or 9 or whatever, the last few years, and we were. It's just good for these seniors. It's good for these seniors to get for JJ and for Walker to get the win, in the county, and I mean, I think we deserved it. You know, like I say, we've taken our licks against the blue and gold here for a long time. So really proud of the guys.
Well, we talked about it when you took the job, that the goal was, hey, this is the barometer. And that was a sign of respect for your opponent, of what Delta's done, but also the respect factor of they've just been really good over such a long period of time. And when you got to this mark, it would be, hey, you know, that's another chapter, another step on the ladder that we've hit. And you mentioned for those seniors that have been through a lot of different types of seasons, and last year they took a step. This year, what is the signal for your program? Because, again, that's the sign of respect. When you beat a Delta and you have the jubilation that you did, it shows the hard work, and it shows where you've come and another step that you've taken, right?
Absolutely. There's been little milestones that we've hit the last couple years, and this is definitely one of them. I mean, you talk about respect. I don't respect anybody anymore from a coaching standpoint than Mark Detweiler. I mean, I've already got more losses than he has the last 4 years here. So they just don't lose. And so, yeah, you're right. Last year it was win a game in county, which, okay, so we did. This year it's let's get to championship night. So to your point about taking steps, and then, yeah, beating Delta. Obviously, we want to get this thing turned around where it's more of a true rivalry.
Well, Coach, it's amazing when you look at your roster. You would feel like with the team maybe that you had last year that had a bunch of juniors and seniors, you have some experience on this team. But when you have key contributors, a sophomore and 3 freshmen that hit big moments, you know, a corner 3 from Tawari, the moments that you've had from Jacob Grimm over the last couple, and then what A.J. Dunn's done to transform his game. It's obviously the senior leadership and what J.J. Evans did tonight. I want to talk about that first. The job that he had to shadow Brady Hunt defensively, he was fantastic, wasn't he?
He was. I mean, he was. He wasn't on Hunt in our game plan to start off, but we made some substitutions, and JJ ended up on him. And when you saw how seriously he was taking that, we just decided to go ahead and stay with it. So sometimes you have to make adjustments, but and then you were talking about our young guys. I mean, yeah, I mean that's, you know, they're gamers. I mean, they're absolute gamers, but so are our seniors and so are our juniors. Everybody's, you know, getting after it in practice, and so, you know, it's a fun night.
So to move on to Friday, and you know, what Cowan would present, just, you know, in the interim of getting to the semifinals, and now you know, you're playing for the weekend. This has the format of what, you know, the sectional and other tournaments would feel like, and so you got to win the first one to get to the next one, and so the semifinals, the expectation on Friday at Cowan.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we gotta turn this thing around, because the worst thing in the world would be to win a game like this and then go and lay an egg against Cowan. So you got to respect all your opponents, and we'll get right on the scout tonight. And not sure what my lesson plans will look like tomorrow in school, but I better, you know, might want to look those over a little bit tonight. But we'll definitely get on some Cowan tape, and we're going to respect every opponent we play. No doubt about it. Looking forward to Friday over at Cowan.
It's Matt Moulton, the head coach of the Yorktown Tigers tonight. They move on, beating Delta here at Delta High School 56-42. Their matchup with the Cowan Blackhawks in the semifinals of the Delaware County Tournament. Congratulations, Coach. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
We'll be back for more on Zaleski Sports next.
Thanks. Congratulations, Coach. Appreciate it. I'm going to wait just a bit more to see if Detweiler might join us. I don't know if he has. We've still got the player of the game to do. I'm just going to wait and see. It doesn't really look like I'm going to get a coach.
AJ Dunn.
It's up to you. Yeah, if you want to do Dunn and just talk a little bit about him, yeah. Perfect. if I turn on our mics, we'll still be on the air.
Yep.
Okay. Player of the game, so we'll do that right now.
Okay.
All right, here back at Delta High School, where tonight Yorktown beats Delta for the first time in 9 games. They move on to the Delaware County Tournament Championship, 56-42 against Delta. I guess what stood out to you the most when looking at the totality of this game and why it ended up being a Yorktown win?
Oh, I think it was absolutely the defensive effort for Yorktown. When you were talking to coach for the Yorktown Tigers, he mentioned that in the game plan, J.J. Evans wasn't initially meant to be guarding Brady Hunt, but then they made some substitutions and things like that, and when they saw how well he was guarding Brady Hunt, they just let him stick to it. I think that was the big deciding factor, was the relentlessness, the toughness of the Yorktown defense. I mean, there were a couple possessions where Delta had the ball for a minute and a half, and usually defense's legs start to get tired, they start to get lazy, but not with Yorktown. They were ready to stick it, and a lot of the times they ended up getting a steal or a rebound and resetting it on the offense.
Let's identify the player of the game. That's brought to you by Jeff Klein from State Farm Insurance.
Yeah, I think that the player of the game has to go to A.J. Dunn. Not only did he have 19 points, he recorded 3 3-pointers, 1 from field goal range, and then he had 3 attempts he had more than 3 attempts at the line, but he made 3 free throws. And on top of his offensive efforts, he was also there on the defensive side. He was face guarding number 4, Neil Marshall, who is oftentimes a big producer for the Delta offense, and A.J. Dunn just kind of shut him down tonight. Neil Marshall finished with 6, where he usually has upwards of 16.
A.J. Dunn, the player of the game, brought to you by State Farm agent Jeff Klein. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and in Muncie, Jeff Klein State Farm is there for you on North Wheeling Avenue in Muncie. Well, the Delaware County Tournament continues on this week. We now know our semifinal matchups. It is Westdale and Wapahani. That's coming up Friday at Wapahani High School, and then Yorktown, after advancing tonight, they will face off against Cowan at Cowan High School on Friday. We appreciate you joining us. Appreciate Lexi for her coverage. My name is Mark Forster. More tournament coverage coming this week from Zaleski Sports. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, and of course at ZaleskiSports.com. Have a good evening. We'll talk to you later this week.